You're listening to
It doesn't matter what you think.
the Sports Fellas Podcast.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Andres. We are back. This is a special episode of the Sports Fellas. This is probably like the fifth or sixth special episode we had with the Super Bowl preview, with the MLB playoffs and everything. But I know this is not going to be a full episode, but we're going to treat it like one because it's a special episode. And today, along with my co-host Eric, how you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. I'm excited. It's the best time of the year for sports. I think you say that every single episode that we had, that the fall time is the best time for sports. And yeah, man, MLB playoffs are going on. NFL is 7 weeks in. Looking crazy that it's already 7 weeks in.
I know. I hate it. I hate the thought that the season's already like this close to being like halfway over. It doesn't feel real. It feels like it just started.
Yeah, the hurricane season is over, but I mean the hoop team is about to get started. Texas lost. I'm sorry about that versus Oklahoma.
We do need to, before we get into the main event of this, we do need to just touch on that Miami coaching.
I don't think, bro, there's nothing to touch upon.
That was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
I think what pissed me off more was the fact that the video went viral of it happening 5 years prior, and
dude, like, I feel like my junior high coach, when I feel like me playing Madden on my Game Boy at 8 years old knew not to do that. Like, it's just insane to me.
Yeah. I don't get it, but anyway. What are you gonna do, man? We'll be back next year. Yeah, just like, but nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all mankind, we are 12 days away from the Ballon d'Or ceremony, and Eric and I had this idea of talking about all the candidates. So there's 30 candidates. We're going to talk about each of them. So we're going to go with Josca Guardiola, Jamal Musiala, Andre Onana, Karim Benzema, Mohamed Salah, Bukayo Saka, Kevin De Bruyne, Jude Bellingham, Rondo Colomwani, Bernardo Silva, Cavaradona, Nicola Barella, Emiliano Martinez, Ruben Diaz, Erling Haaland, Martin Odegaard, Ilkay Gundogan, Yacine Bono, Julian Alvarez, Vinicius Jr., Rodri, Antoine Griezmann, Lionel Messi, Lautaro Martinez, Robert Lewandowski, Kim Min-jae, Luka Modric, Kylian Mbappe, Victor Osimhen, and Harry Kane. I'm so happy for Harry Kane that he went to Bayern. I feel like he was very under the radar, and he's a very underrated player. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it. First player on the list, we got Josca Guardiola. In my opinion, he was the best defender at the World Cup. He won the German Cup with Leipzig. He played 42 games and he only scored 3 goals, but, he's a defender. He scored the 1-0 for the bronze medal in the third place game where Croatia won 2-1 against Morocco. And they had a podium finish for the third time and the second consecutive World Cup. So prior to last World Cup and this World Cup that just happened, Croatia had only placed in the podium once. That was in 1998 when they finished third. And in the last 2 World Cups, they've obviously been able to play. So last World Cup, they were the runner-ups. This World Cup, they finished in third place. Guardiola was the best defender for me at the World Cup, like I said. It was funny because Guardiola said after Messi rinsed him, he put his price down like 20 million, but he's killing it at Manchester City, and I'm very happy for him. Very young. I think he's 20 years old. But Eric, talk to us about the next candidate.
So Musiala, a little Bayern boy, he been killing over there. He won the league with the game-winning goal versus Cologne. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, FC Cologne. Yeah.
These German names, some of them be catching me. Team of the season, Bundesliga. He
did have a good World Cup.
13 dribbles versus Costa Rica, second most in a game ever. I don't even know if I watched that game, but I do remember on Twitter. So during the World Cup, I made sure I followed a ton of, people covering the World Cup and a ton of footy fans just so I could keep up with everything. And I remember people losing their mind about Musiala during everything that was going on. Like he had a really good World Cup. Finished with 16 goals and 13 assists last year. Fifth in the league goals, third in assist, 13. Man, I think one thing that gets underrated is a lot of these goal scorers, they put up a ton of goal scoring numbers, but I think having the mix of both, which is why I always, people talk about Messi versus Ronaldo. They're just as good goal scoring wise, but Messi gets that edge because he's such a good playmaker for others. That's what Musiala was pretty much last year. He set up the rest, and it helps having all those Bayern teammates, but he was so good at just setting up his teammates, whether it was with country or for club.
It's funny because people treat the football like it's basketball, and they'll say, "Oh, well, Germany got group stage at the World Cup," but like I mean, he didn't have a good World Cup per se, but against Costa Rica, he was fantastic. And I just don't think he can be like held accountable for that per se. But I mean, they did get group stage, but obviously he's not going to be like a top 5, top 10 candidate. But moving on, you got Andre Onana, who's had a fantastic start to the season with Manchester United. No, he has not. He won the Italian Cup and the Italian Super Cup. He was a runner-up in the Champions League. He actually kept a clean sheet in 5 out of the 7 knockout games, including both legs against AC Milan in the semifinals. Both round of 16 games and the first leg of the quarterfinals that Inter Milan played, and he had 41 games played.
I feel like Onana, he was a dog, but this year is just leaving a bad taste in my mouth still. Like, I know it doesn't, whatever. Oh, dude, he looks so rough for United. What happened? What happened?
People just put on the United kit and their attributes just go down like 5 levels, man. It's terrible.
He's lucky this year doesn't count because looking rough. Next up we got Benzema, your boy, always balling out. What's the name of the club he's on now?
Something. Ittihad. I think it's the one with the I. Ittihad, I think it is. Yeah.
Ittihad.
Ittihad. Yeah. How are you?
Ittihad, yeah. Again, doesn't really matter, but 31 goals, 6 assists, won the European Super Cup, Club World Cup, Spanish Cup. I gotta ask, do you think the Club World Cup is the biggest tournament, or do you still think it's UEFA Champions League?
It's the Champions League, and the Club World Cup. Right? Yeah, it's easily the Champions League. After the Champions League, it's the Copa Libertadores, which is the South American version of the Champions League. The team that I root for actually plays in it in 3 weeks. I'll remind you so you can watch that game because, bro, football in South America is literally like religion. Like the stadiums are like 900 times better than Europe. Like you can pull out. I would say the best stadiums are in Germany and Turkey, I would say, and honestly, in Spain, of course. Italy has good stadiums, but if you combine all of those and you put it up against like Argentina or Brazil, the stadiums are not better. Like the football in South America, it's disgusting. Like it's really, really really good. But
yeah, that's what I always think about it. Like, I guess that would be the comparison. Like those are like college football ones, and the others are like NFL ones. Like college football is miles better than NFL stadiums and stuff.
Bro,
and that's
college football gets loud.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize this, but like football stadiums during the playoffs, like some of them are really loud, and some of them are like it's like the regular season. You're like, okay, like Lambeau.
It's weird. Like home field advantage is so weird in the NFL. It's either way up there, like whenever Seattle was during Legion of Boom and stuff, it was way up there, or it was in the gutter. And I will say that's one thing about footy that does have its benefit is even the like regular season games, people be going crazy.
Yeah, I think it's funny because the Club World Cup, I saw a tweet last year that said people watch the Club World Cup to see if the Champions League winner actually loses instead of like rooting for them.
100%.
Like it's more embarrassing for them to lose than it is for them to win.
Whenever Chelsea won in 2021, I honestly didn't care at all if they won the Club World Cup. I was just so stressed we were gonna lose. Like losing is embarrassing, and I was stressed about it. Anyway, to finish up on Benzema real quick, La Liga team of the season. Hat-trick versus Barcelona in the semi-Spanish Cup. He maximum assist in Real Madrid history.
He became that this past year, bro.
Crazy, man. How many years was he at?
14 since 09. 14 years, bro.
Who did he pass up to get that?
I think it might have been Ronaldo. I'm bugging. I'm not too positive. I think it was. It could have been Ronaldo.
Probably.
He
put up numbers, but yeah. Great season by Benzema, your boy, always there. I gotta say, I'm not loving all this Saudi players.
Bro,
it just sucks because we don't see them as often, and they're not in. I don't know.
One of my favorite players, Riyad Mahrez, I loved watching him at City, and now I don't know of him. So I was checking his stats the other day, and he has 6 goals and 4 assists, and I'm like, dude, I miss him.
And we don't even, and also the Neymar news, that sucks.
Yeah,
we don't even got to talk about that too much, but man, I was heartbroken seeing him crying on the field.
And that's what I'm saying. South American qualifiers, you're out there to die. I don't understand how people think it's it's otherwise. South American qualifiers are the hardest in the world. But
Darwin Núñez,
what a player!
Anyway,
what a player. He's fantastic. But Mohamed Salah, man, the face of Liverpool, the face of football for a lot of Englishmen. 30 goals and 16 assists, and it was considered a bad year for him. Obviously, Liverpool had a terrible year for their standards. They didn't make the Champions League, and Klopp really didn't have it figured out till the 18-19 match day. He scored in 6 consecutive UCL matches, and he had 9 goals and 2 assists against the Big Six. A lot. It's funny because like the Big Six is pretty much like the NBA playoffs. Like, okay, like the regular season is cool, but what can you do when the lights get bright? You know, and like every single Big Six matchup, whether it's Spurs Liverpool, Spurs Chelsea, Spurs Man City United, Man City Chelsea, like everyone is tuned in. You know what I'm saying? Like you're scratching whatever you're doing that Saturday, that Sunday. If it's at the crack of dawn, obviously you're not watching unless you wake up at 6, 7 in the morning. But it's crazy how good Salah is against the Big Six. Like there's really no game that's too big for him.
Monster. He that's what I saw people arguing about him, like all time. Where does he rank as like a Premier League player all time? I saw people arguing. I will put my hands up. I'm not too familiar with the history of everything. I started watching I think 2019, so I don't know the full history. But I saw people arguing like who's better, him or Hazard, and saw people arguing that. Just based on my knowledge, I would think Salah.
I think this is a funny topic because people are gonna call me biased because of Hazard, but like when it comes to Salah, right? He helped Liverpool the best run of their history. If it was, I'm not trying to use a hypothetical, but if this Liverpool team played in any other era, I'm talking about late 2000s, early 2010s, in the 90s, like they would be considered the best Premier League team of all time. Because if you really think about it, the team with the most points as a runner-up was Liverpool 2 years ago and Liverpool 4 years ago.
They just are so unlucky. And
2019, because 2020 they won it. 2021 was bad, and then 2022, yeah. So 2022, 2019, 28, like, bro, this team has been fantastic ever since Jurgen Klopp got there. And last year, like I said, they did have a bad year, but I don't think it's fair to compare Hazard and Salah because Hazard did go a whole calendar year without scoring a goal, and obviously they won the title in 2015. I think 2017 was the other year that 2017 was the other year that Chelsea won it while Hazard was there. Because in 2013 was United, 14 was City, 15 was Chelsea, 16 was Leicester, 17 was Chelsea, 18 was City, 19 was City, 20 was Liverpool, 21 was City, 22 was City, 23 was City. Yeah, so they won 2 league titles while Hazard was there. But like I said, this Liverpool team has the most points in Premier League history without winning the title. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, and I even saw someone retweeted like a Liverpool tweet once, and I saw it, and again, it was like right when I was getting into the sport, but it said out of their last 127 potential points they could have gotten, they had gotten 125, meaning they won every game in that span and only drew one.
The one draw was against Man City, I believe.
That is unheard of. Like that sounds like if you told anyone that before it happened, they would laugh at you and be like, "Oh, well, that's the greatest team ever." But then it actually happens and people want to diminish it. It just kind of sucks, Like it is part of the era they played in, so it's tough. Anyway, next up, Bukayo Saka, star boy for little London rivals Arsenal. Arsenal have really turned it around. He had 15 goals, 11 assists. He had 4 games and 3 goals at the World Cup. A brace versus Iran, goal versus Senegal. He helped Arsenal really turn it around. He's kind of like, people even talk about that. There was a video of them talking about, would you trade away Saka if it guaranteed a league title?
Did you see that video?
That was honestly, I love that, bro. That was dope to watch. Like, I know it's probably like jokes and everything, but I think that's awesome. Like how he's that important to Arsenal that they wouldn't even trade a league title this year to get rid of him because he's that important, and they think he's going to be the one to lead them to multiple ones. Like, and I mean, who's to say they're wrong? Because they look incredible since in the last year and a half. They've looked like the second best team.
I think it's funny because a lot of people did say that Arsenal was gonna fall off this year, out of a sudden. But that shit doesn't.
I thought they were gonna. I didn't think fall off. I still picked them to get top 4, but I thought 3rd or 4th they wouldn't compete for the title. They're still right there right now. They're putting up against anyone. If you match them up with any team in England right now, even Man City, they have a very good shot to win. That's how.
Yeah, Arsenal just beat them too. And everyone was going crazy.
And it's crazy because I remember just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, people were calling for Arteta to be gone. And
bro, but that's the problem with football fans today. They don't have patience. I mean,
no patience at all. And I get
it. It's not like
baseball. As an Arsenal team, you're expected to be at the top. But I mean, you can't expect them to come in, kind of not do an overhaul, but change a lot and expect success immediately. Kind of Chelsea's situation right now. It's just not going to happen. A lot of changes are needed. It's going to take time for players to gel, for his philosophies to get in there. And it's working. It's a good thing they stuck with him because Saka, I don't like Arsenal, but he's one of my favorite players to watch. Honestly, he's
and he's still super young. Like
so young, isn't he? How old is he?
20? I think he's 20. I think he's 20 or 21. I think
21. I thought 21, but yeah, incredible.
Yeah. Next on the list, Mr. Kevin De Bruyne. He had 10 goals and 31 assists. He obviously won the treble. He was the Premier League assist champion for the 4th time in his career. He had 2 goals and 4 assists in the knockout stage. He had that banger against Real Madrid in the semifinals, and then the round of 16 he had another goal. He was on Premier League and Champions League Team of the Season, but he did have a bad World Cup. So when it comes to KDB, I'm trying to sound as blunt as possible, right? I think KDB is the best midfielder in the world, like no questions asked. But if you're the best midfielder in the world, how can you come out and say your national team is not good enough in the middle of a World Cup? Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, he's the best midfielder in the world, whatever you want to call it, water to wine. But him coming out and saying that, I don't know, man.
It was a really bad look.
I thought it was a bad look.
I think so too.
Especially since he did play bad in the World Cup. Like if he had like, I don't know, let's say 2 goals, 2 assists, like fine, but he really did not do Nathan. Like whatever, man. Shout out KDB. He's obviously fantastic, but the new fans need to calm down a little bit with that prop.
Yeah, he's already very proven. He had a bad World Cup, like you said, but we know who KDB is. We know he's going to perform every year. Man City doesn't run like Man City does without him. Like, they'd still be great, obviously. Pep is still Pep. They still got great players surrounding him, but he is, like, the best player, the root of it. I know Haaland maybe statistically had the better year, but if you go watch some of Haaland's games too, how many of them are easy looks or stuff getting set up perfectly? Partly because of KDB, because KDB draws so much attention and sets it up. He's just a brilliant player. You know, it's hard to you can't overstate how good he is.
It's an unfair comparison, but it's literally like Kobe and Shaq. Like every single time Shaq needed a pass in the paint, boom, Kobe was right there.
Perfect. Always was there. Next up, I guess now your boy Jude Bellingham.
Now.
I mean, I don't know how you felt about him at Dortmund.
Oh, I love the kid. I knew, bro. Once there was a rumor that we were interested in him, I was like, I hope we pulled the trigger. But
there was rumors for him for
Liverpool too.
Liverpool, and I was stressed about that. I was hoping he went to Real Madrid. I do not want him in the Premier League. And I mean, even right now, again, doesn't count, but he's crushing it with y'all. He's been phenomenal. Last year though, 42 games, 14 goals for Dortmund. Bundesliga Player of the Year at what, 20 years old?
20 years old. Yeah, bro.
Phenomenal. Goal versus Iran in the World Cup. You know, England in the World Cup, I was rooting hard against them, but they performed okay. Like,
bro, but if this team, I don't know if you saw the 11 from yesterday. If that team plays in the Euros, they should. Hot take, they should win the Euros.
They have ridiculous talent. The craziest thing about it is it's young talent too. A lot of it is just young players. Like, I wasn't that high on him like a year-ish ago, but Declan Rice looks pretty damn solid. He's kind of inconsistent sometimes, but when he's on, he is on. And Jude Bellingham, he's just phenomenal. He was Bundesliga Team of the Season also. Like, he's just, the potential is all there, and he could, like, I don't want to overstate it. Again, I don't know y'all's history, obviously, as well, but, like, I feel like he could go down as a Real Madrid legend easily.
He said yesterday that he wants to be here for the next 10 to 15 years. So.
And he will go down as far as I know, my knowledge of y'all, as one of y'all's better players, because he is, like, already at 20 years old, he's looking this good. I think he has, 8 goals in 8 games? That's insane.
I think he has 10 goals in 10 games, honestly.
Like, insane. Hard to imagine.
But listen to this. Jordan Pickford, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Harry Maguire, Kevin Trippier, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, Phil Foden, Jude Bellingham, Marcus Rashford, Harry Kane. I still didn't mention Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's, finding his way back. You got Watkins, you got James Maddison, you got Jack Grealish. I mean,
I gotta ask, who do you think's better? It's kind of a argument back and forth, but who do you think's better between Reece James and Arnold? You know my answer.
I gotta go TAA, man.
Damn.
TAA something else. Reece James is fantastic, but that injury prone stuff the last year or so.
But to be fair, TAA kind of had it too.
Bro, TAA is something else, man.
Yeah, fair. Okay. Anyway,
but this is the anti-Messi favorite player, Randall Kolo Muani. He had 46 games with 23 goals. He scored the second goal versus Morocco in the semis. He was second in the league with the 15 goals, but he actually scored the first goal in 10 of those games, and he was Bundesliga Team of the Season. And now that he was PSG, he's nowhere to be found. But obviously, this amounts for last year.
It is it's interesting seeing a Frankfurt player there because like they're not a huge known team. They've been looking solid.
Yes and no. Yes,
they've been looking better in Bundesliga and everything, but like they're still not a Dortmund, a Bayern, a PSG.
But they're always like up there in the Bundesliga.
Sure.
Like,
but
you know what I mean?
It's all I credit to him, and like you said, it's kind of unfortunate he left and has been looking like how he has. But early in the season, long way to go. I think he's suspended their next match actually. If I remember correctly.
Yeah,
but no, last season he was phenomenal. I mean, 23 goals. That alone is just insane.
I feel like not to be biased again, but like Messi and Ronaldo put the standards so high that like Harry Kane scored 30 goals last season. It's like that's it, like 30 goals.
I know that's what sucks is like Harry Kane. It's kind of like the Liverpool thing. And another year, Harry Kane's year is outrageous, but because of Haaland's year with the goals he scored, it's kind of you didn't do enough. Like it really sucks how that works.
Yeah, Harry Kane has been. I take a bow, man. I'm happy Harry Kane left Spurs. I didn't want him to go to Bayern, but I'm happy he left Spurs.
Yeah, no kidding. Bernardo Silva. Think about this guy with me, Silva. I feel like he's so much older than 29.
Bro, he looks older than he's 29.
Every time I watch him play, I'm like, oh, this dude's 34. No, he's 29, bro.
I love that guy, man. When he was at Monaco had a super team when they beat Manchester City 6 years ago, 2017. They were fantastic.
Was that his last year there?
Yes, actually, coincidentally.
Yeah, treble winner, 7 goals, 6 assists, 2 goals versus Madrid, and an assist in the final.
I don't think the 2 goals was necessary, but you know, that's no. But he was. Bro, I feel like when it comes to these midfielders, right? It's so hard to judge them, but the new fan judges them based on goals, and I don't think you could judge Bernardo Silva, for example, based on goals. Like he does so much more when you watch.
And that's what makes it even crazier. Is like De Bruyne KDB puts up all these stats, and we see what he does. But like Bernardo Silva, his stats will never look as good just because there's just not the player he is or how it works. But his impact, some games rivals KDB's. Like he some games looks like their best player. It's crazy. Yeah. Like their midfield is ridiculous. Even with Foden, like pushing up, like
bro. But it's funny because Foden just like fell off the map.
What? Yeah, I don't know what happened.
So Pep is so fire because like the eye that he has for talent, man. Like if he was to bench, it's just not gonna happen. If he was to bench Messi, you would be like, all right, like you know what I mean? But like.
Oh, you would turn on Pep if that happened. Don't even lie.
Look at Raheem Sterling, right? Raheem Sterling was fantastic with Man City. He was like probably one of their better players, and now
hey, he's looking pretty good this year, honestly.
This year, yeah, it's a long year, like I said. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name.
You waiting for the fall off to happen?
No. I love Sterling. He's a very underrated player. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but Kavicha Kvaratskhelia. I'm just gonna Kvaradona.
I heard someone say it. I don't know. Yeah. Napoli.
He was the Serie A MVP. He was Serie A team of the season. He had the most assists in the Serie A. He was the Champions League Young Player of the Year. He had 14 goals and 14 assists, and he actually helped Napoli to win their first league title in 33 years.
And not only that, but it wasn't close at all. Bro, that shit was over with weeks and weeks and like months left in the season.
I think like by January, everyone knew. Yeah.
And he had such a good season that, granted, I don't know. I'm not too familiar with him before this last season. I don't know if he just had a breakout season or if it was a slow growing thing. But people at one point were calling him like a top 5 player in the world at that point,
which is ridiculous. And a lot of people were calling him better than Vinicius too, as well.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. Yeah. But it is incredible how much he led that team. That Napoli team, they're so well rounded though.
Yeah.
Like, they have a lot of talent, and he was kind of the face of it. I mean, he won.
Well, him and Osimhen, I feel like Osimhen goes under the radar, but I think we'll talk about it later. But yeah, Osimhen was, bro, when you score 31 goals this season, I mean, you got to be good, you know? So, shout out to Victor Osimhen, man. He was very underrated, very under the radar. He got screwed over by Napoli fans, like on TikTok. I don't know if you saw that they were.
Yeah, that was a weird situation.
Pathetic, very pathetic.
But yeah, about Kavisha. Is that just what we're gonna call him? Yeah. He one thing I do like is I know there were some people calling Napoli trying to get him, and he's still there. I like how he stayed. I mean, I obviously would like the best players to come to Chelsea, best players to do that. But I like loyalty, seeing people stay. Like I love one of my favorite players right now is Rafael Leao.
Leo.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I heard someone corrected me once at work, and I
No.
was confused.
You're good.
Leao. I like how he stayed with AC Milan. I know there's still some talks about him leaving, but he signed a new contract. He seems locked in with them, and I don't know. I like loyalty in sports, and it's cool to see it still in soccer where players typically just go for the bigger club, which I don't blame them at all. I mean, more power.
I just feel like not to be biased because obviously you're a Chelsea fan, but I just feel like Premier League fans they're entitled. And every
fully
single
agree.
player has to go to the Premier League. Like people are talking about, Jude Bellingham has to be a Liverpool player one day. Like, bro, no, he does not. He plays for the best team in the world, best team in the history of the sport. Like, he's happy, we're happy. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and that's why Premier League fans get so mad even when people choose like PSG over them. They're like, why would they choose a League One team over? Because PSG are a great club. Bayern are a great club. Like Harry Kane leaving the Premier League to go there, which I do. We can talk about Harry Kane later, but I don't know. I like loyalty. I like seeing him stay there. I like seeing Leao stay in AC Milan. Like, I don't know. Loyalty. I like seeing loyalty be rewarded and them getting a bigger contract and stuff like that.
We'll see what happens with Leao. He's still super young, so I'm sure when he hits 26, 27, I'm sure he'll want to leave.
Sure. Is it your turn or mine?
You go. Yeah.
Oh, we've been going back and forth so much. I don't know. We've been touching base so much.
Nah, you're good.
Sorry. Who's up next? Barrera? Is that how you say it?
Nicolo Barella, bro. He's a player that I want at Real Madrid so bad. Not gonna lie. But,
here we go. Back to going to the big.
No, but I'm being serious.
Well, also you don't like Inter, so
yeah, that's it.
Stealing him from Inter would be huge for y'all. Italian Super Cup, Coppa, Italia winner. They made I don't know how they made the final though. That's still crazy.
Because that shit was rigged, man. You had all the powerhouses on one side of the bracket. On the other side, you had all the new teams, and we know that shit was rigged, man.
Anyway, we got it. It was that pissed me off whenever we saw the knockout rounds. But he won best midfielder for the year Serie A, which Serie A, I don't want to say they're a stepping stone for talent, but they do have a lot of young talent.
The stepping stones for talent is like Germany,
yeah, it
Portugal,
has to be Bundesliga. It's not even just Bundesliga.
France.
It is old. It feels like it's half of Dortmund and Bayer Leverkusen and RB Leipzig. It's like those three mainly. It feels like.
And then Bayern just swoops them, and then they win the league again and again.
Which.
It would be funny if Bayern doesn't win the league this year. Like I don't know.
With Harry Kane, I'm begging for it to happen. And that's
I just want to see
I
the
wanted to
clicks,
touch on Harry Kane is about how Tottenham look better than they have in years. Anyway, we'll get to that. But
but Mr. Emiliano Martinez, World Cup winner, Golden Glove at the World Cup. He helped Aston Villa finish 7th, and they're actually playing Europa League for the first time since 2011. And I don't know why everyone has an agenda against Emiliano Martinez, maybe because they won the World Cup and everything, but whatever, man.
I know a lot of people talk about how he just doesn't seem like a likable guy, but I think that's kind of weird thing to say. I don't know.
Bro, they don't know these players.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I've seen people like, oh, he's such a dick. Well, you don't know him because he does a couple things maybe that you might annoy you. You don't know the guy. I'm sorry.
If they change the rules for you, you got to be good at the sport.
Like, yeah, and also, I'm sorry. My favorite player in NBA is Chris Paul. He's done a lot of shitty things. Still like him. I don't know the dude, so I'm not gonna sit there and say he's a horrible person. He's a phenomenal person. You don't know these people. These relationships people develop with their athletes who they've never met is so weird to me.
Whatever, man.
But incredible World Cup for him. He was for Aston Villa. He helped them a shit ton.
Bro, he had like there was like a 13 game span where he had like 11 clean sheets. Like he was phenomenal.
Yeah. Another Man City player, Ruben Diaz. Sick of talking about them, but they have so many players on here. Treble winner, team of the season for Champions League and Premier League. I feel like the thing about him is he's just Mr. Consistent. He just every time I watch them, he looks like he's just kind of like a brick wall. Like I kind of started watching late whenever whenever VVD was like
best
in his prime and stuff. Yeah, best center back in the world. And I feel like I watch Ruben Diaz and I'm just like, like I said, I started watching VVD probably later into whenever he was already not as good. But Ruben Diaz a lot of times looks just as good, if not better than VVD.
Nah, but VVD in 2019, man.
See, that's right. I can't say. I only watched like
Nah,
the
I
end
know.
of 2019.
But 2019, bro, VVD was.
Yeah, did you say something about him?
This.
Like Messi was the only one that caused him any trouble.
Yeah, and it was funny because when Liverpool were playing Barcelona, VVD was calling for like a double team, as the NBA fans love it. Like he was defending Messi, and like you could see there's a video of him like pointing to like help him out and stuff. But no, VVD himself said that that Messi deserved the Ballon d'Or in 2019, which is funny to even say. But
who won that year?
Messi did.
Okay.
Messi did because Netherlands won the Nations League, Liverpool won the Champions League, the Super Cup. I think the Club World Cup, obviously. Yeah. He came out and said, he was like, listen, like I would have given the award to Messi myself. And it was funny because that year Ronaldo actually finished top 3 and he finished 3rd. So the voters, like Messi beat him with 686 votes and VVD had 649. So actually Portugal won the Nations League that year. So they gave some of the votes to Ronaldo and stuff. So a lot of people are saying, well, that's the reason Messi won. But hey, still counts equally.
All right, I'm going to cut you off. I'm doing back-to-back. You can talk about Messi. I'm talking about Haaland, all right?
I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah.
I prepared myself. I was like...
Me and you have argued about this a lot. And we'll find out in a bit how we both have it. Yours is pretty obvious, I think. But Haaland...
What more could we say?
What was that one clip? Yeah, what more could you say about the season? Yeah, what was that one clip of that one guy who said he's going to be the flop of the Premier League? He's not going to have near as many. Like he said, it will be a good season if he has like 15 goals. He more than doubled that. He shattered the record. Treble winner, Golden Shoe in Europe, Premier League Player of the Year easily. I don't think it was really close either.
I don't know.
Premier League Golden Boot. 52 goals and 9 assists. Like, again, we can always knock the playmaking. He might not have the playmaking of like Messi or other great strikers or other great forwards. But 52 goals, when you're that good at scoring goals, it's hard to really argue. And I know one thing you can knock him for is a lot of those are easy chip-ins. But he's always in the right position. And that's one thing you have to give him. Positioning, I think, is very underrated because you watch someone, they could have just as many opportunities if they're positioning, or maybe not just as many, that's maybe a little crazy because it is Man City in him. But positioning matters because, like, I'll watch Nico Jackson, for example, on Chelsea. I feel like he gets a lot of opportunities, but he could have so many more and so many opportunities if his position was better, if he made the run slightly earlier, if he cut inside instead of staying straight, like different things like that. Haaland does those things, though, and that's why he's always in that position. Like, he what do they call him? Robot? Like, he's just a robot, pretty much. Like
Cyborg, yeah.
Cyborg. He's just, you know, I feel like it's a safe bet to bet he's gonna score a goal almost every game. Again, we don't gamble here in sports,
bro. But for the FPL,
crazy.
for FPL, he hasn't been like up to his standards, which is funny to say.
But that's still what's crazy is you have to have him on your team. If you don't have him on your team, you're gonna fall behind.
I've captained Salah the last 3 or 4 weeks, and it's paid off because he's been ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I put him on my team, or I did for a wild person, but like Haaland, I think he's owned by like 96% of players or something. I don't know. I've only played for I think 2 years. I've never seen. Like that's unheard of. It feels like. Like, and he's what 14 million, which is
But imagine like football, like fantasy football was like fantasy Premier League.
It would be like Mahomes would be pretty high bought. Like Tyreek Hill would be pretty high bought. But there's not a player I don't think that would be 96% bought. Yeah. It's crazy to think about it. Yeah, he's incredible season. I just had to take over for him real quick because I'll let you get Messi, but because you're gonna go on for 20 minutes about Messi. But Haaland, incredible season, and that blonde hair, man. What else can you say?
Absolutely. Martin Odegaard, 15 goals, 9 assists, team of the season. He helped Arsenal get Champions League for the first time since 2017. Obviously, we know that. Just going down the list, Gundogan, treble winner, 11 goals, 6 assists. He had a brace in the FA Cup final. Yassine Bono, bro. An African nation reached the semifinals of a World Cup.
Yeah, I wasn't even really familiar with him, but
I watched La Liga religiously, so like
he showed out. It was crazy.
He was something else.
Yeah.
It was crazy because like when we lost, dude, I was so like I was you know when your sports team loses that you just laugh, you're like not even sad, you're just like whatever, man. Like I was pretty pissed off.
Yeah. Julian Alvarez, 49 games, 17 goals, even with Haaland being crazy like that, he still scored 17 goals, second leading goal scorer for them. Treble, obviously, another Man City guy. World Cup winner. Shout out Argentina. They went crazy. A lot of talent on that team. A lot of young talent too. That's the good thing about them is they're a mix of vets and young guys. So it's good to see. Scored a brace in the semifinals. Youngest player to do so since Pele. Incredible season for him.
That's a crazy list to be on. Then you got Vinicius. He had 24 goals and 23 assists. Super Cup, Club World Cup, Copa del Rey winner, La Liga team of the season, Champions League team of the season. And in the Champions League knockout stage, we scored 11 goals. And Vinicius was directly responsible for 7 of them, including the goal he scored against Man City in the semifinals, obviously, in the 2 that he had against Liverpool. But
Vinicius is that guy. Vinicius is that guy. He's
top 5 in the world. I'm sorry.
You gotta love him. He's just so much fun to watch. I mean, 24 goals and 23 assists is insane.
He's top 5 in the world. Don't care.
Yeah, I agree.
And another Man City player for you to read off of, Eric.
Oh, great. I get to do this one. Rodri. Their midfield, their team is just stacked. Treble winner, Nations League winner, player of the tournament, Nations League. Like, he's just team of the season, Premier League. He was just incredible. Champions League player of the season, which I don't know, man. Their team, there's so many different players where half the squad could be having an off match. And then the other half is going to be playing like the best player at their position in the world. Like they're so stacked. It's crazy. Shout out, Rodri.
So you're saying that there's times where Haaland's not the best player.
Yep, I knew that was coming. Next, Antoine Griezmann. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Antoine Griezmann is a funny player because he's very underrated, but in some scenarios he could be overrated. But I'm not going to be a hater. I'm going to say he's underrated. La Liga team of the season. Obviously, he was the man of the match in the World Cup semis against Morocco. 16 goals, 18 assists. A lot of people would argue that he was the best player leading to the World Cup final, but I don't know if I would step the haterade that far. And next, we have Lionel. No, I can't call him that. Lionel Andres Messi Cucitini. World Cup winner, World Cup player of the tournament, World Cup Silver Boot, league winner, French Super Cup winner, French Super Cup man of the match, 41 goals, 26 assists, man of the match in every knockout game at the World Cup, and a goal in every single knockout game at the World Cup. I could go here on a rant, but we'll continue that later. Lautaro Martinez, World Cup winner, 29 goals, 11 assists. He won the Super Cup of Italy and the Coppa Italia with Inter Milan. And Inter Milan made the Champions League final, as Eric alluded to, for the first time in 13 years when they did win it 2-0 against Bayern. And this next player, Eric, very interesting because we did talk about Bayern earlier. And this player left Bayern for Barcelona at the age of 33. What does that say?
That's weird. That's what, I don't know, the thing about Barcelona is I feel like they do target a lot of younger guys because they're one of those teams that, like, stepping stone teams, players go to Barcelona. But Lewandowski at 33 went there, still putting up numbers. Like, I don't know, man. It's very fascinating to watch him. Who do you think is better right now between him and Harry Kane? Because I saw someone.
I knew that question was coming.
Yeah, I just gotta ask. You have to ask.
That question.
It's a good debate though.
I feel like it's a good debate.
I'm taking Lewandowski. I gotta be honest. It might be a little hater for the Tottenham boy over there.
I think you gotta look at Harry Kane in 4 years when he's 34. But I think it's Lewandowski too. I think it's Lewandowski. But he did win the Pichichi Trophy without a single penalty.
Yeah, I don't even know what Pichichi is. What is that? I saw that in your notes.
It's the maximum goal scorer in Spain.
Interesting. I never knew that. Why is that named after a player?
Yes, sir.
Pichichi.
Cool. Yeah.
Shout out Lewandowski, legend.
Absolute legend. 35 goals and 9 assists. It was
should have won a Ballon d'Or before, but we don't have to. We'll stay away. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't think that. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, Kim Min-jae, excuse me. He was the best defender in the Serie A. Bro, he was. When I saw Bayern sign him, he was Serie A team of the season as well. He was a league winner for Napoli for the first time in 33 years. And fun fact, Napoli only received 28 goals in the league last year. It was their year, like we alluded to.
Yeah, they ran through everyone.
Luka Modric, bronze medal from Croatia. As I stated before, it's the third time they podium. He won the Spanish Cup, the UEFA Super Cup, the Club World Cup. He was a runner-up in the UEFA Nations League where they lost to Spain, and he was team of the season for La Liga. And this next player, Mr. Kylian Mbappe.
I just got to ask before we go any further. We don't have to touch too much on him right now because we'll talk about him whenever we're doing our top 5 more. Do you think he's the best player in the world right now? Or do you think it's still Messi? Because I feel like it has to be between them two right now. That's just my opinion.
No, I don't think he's the best player in the world.
You think it's still
Messi? I feel like this is a terrible comparison because Giannis and Jokic have been the best player in the world for, let's see, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 5 years now. 5 years now. So until Messi retires, he's the best player in the world. I'm sorry.
Damn. Okay.
I just feel like, so with LeBron, right? So not to talk about LeBron, but LeBron started in 2012, I would say, is when he took off until 2019. In 2019, I feel like it was Giannis or Claw. And then from there on, it was like LeBron, Giannis, Jokic these past 2 years. So or this year, excuse me. So with Messi, since 2009, he really has been the best player in the world, despite not winning the Ballon d'Or, some years. But
he's got to win one soon, right? When Messi is gone, probably it has to be his.
I feel like it's confusing to say because he's 25, right? He's turning 25 in December. He's still in League One. PSG is never going to win a Champions League. This is not me being a hater. They're never going to win a Champions League. What are you doing? And I get it. I know we talked about Premier League fans feeling entitled, but bro, there's no need to play at PSG at 25, man.
I know.
You're the leading goal scorer. You got them to a final, or got them because Neymar was the best player on that team. They just don't have it.
He better go to Real Madrid soon, man. I don't even care that much about Real Madrid, but he has to go there. Please get out of PSG. Everyone's so sick and tired of it. Just move on, bro. And I hate all the drama that surrounds it every time. Just make your decision and go. And if you're staying, stay. If you're going, go. Just do it. Hurry up. We know you want to go. We know.
He's a masochist. It's that.
Anyway.
But he was. Mbappe last year was fantastic, man. 50 goals, 12 assists. They won the league. He was League One Player of the Year, Team of the Season. He won the Golden Boot at the World Cup. He won the Silver Ball at the World Cup. He was League One top goal scorer. And bro, let me tell you something, Eric. In the last 7 World Cups, France has played the final in 4 of them.
Yeah, and wasn't there that stat that was going around the team that won the World Cup this year, this is how early they went out. The team that won the World Cup this year, they broke it finally.
They did break it.
And they were great.
Bro, 4 of the last 7 World Cup finals has been with France. 98.
And they just spit out time. I don't know if they have as much young talent as some other countries.
No,
I think they do. But
these players were that young talent years ago.
But I still think I would take a couple other countries. Would you argue Spain has more young talent than France or not?
Right now, I would say no. But midfielders, yes.
Okay, I guess that's the main.
I think France won the U19 or the U17 World Cup in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. Well, don't quote me. I think it might have been that. And all of these players, they were part of that team.
And they're coming up now. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Next on the list, he was redonkulous. He was ridiculous. It felt like every single week this man was scoring. Victor Osimhen, 31 goals, 5 assists. He helped Napoli win their first league title in 33 years. He was the maximum goal scorer in Italy, best striker in the Serie A, and he made Serie A team of the season. And last but not least, I'll leave it to you. Your favorite player?
Harry friggin' Kane.
Harry Kane.
What else is there? I mean, we already kind of touched on him earlier multiple times.
Like I said, what a guy.
He had an incredible season, and it's just unfortunate. I don't really hate Harry Kane. I kind of just joking, but it sucks because he had an incredible season. It just got overshadowed by Haaland having that good, but it shouldn't go without being talked about because he was still. I don't know if that was a double negative. That might have been wrong. He was still incredible. He was still incredible. 32 goals and 5 assists. Premier League team of the season. Most years probably would have been Premier League Player of the Year if it wasn't for Haaland.
KDB. It's KDB, Rodri, Haaland, but et cetera.
So pretty much if Man City didn't exist.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, that's all the contestants. That's all 30 our contestants nominees. You want to start off with your top 5, or you got anything else you want to say before we get into it?
No, you get to go straight into it. You can start.
No. You start. I want to hear. Here's my thing. Here's my thoughts on this before we do get in. I think you might disagree, and this is what we're about to find out. I think the top 3 is obvious, and you don't.
I don't think it's obvious.
Oh,
I feel like it's gonna be different for both of us.
Really? Okay, then I'm curious where you have. Okay, the top two have. No, I
No,
know who
it's
you
not
have. I
obvious.
know. You're a little. Oh shit! Go first. Go first. Go first.
All right. Number 5, we got Kevin De Bruyne.
Okay.
For obvious reasons. Like I said, they won the treble. He did get subbed off in the final. I just don't think it's fair to him to judge him for that. But 2 Champions League finals, and he hasn't played in either of them, sadly. I know he's hurting. But he does deserve to play in the Champions League final in the future, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, I guess
The World Cup is understated, man. They got group stage. I'm sorry. You can't come out and say you're mediocre. I'm sorry.
I agree,
That's gotta hurt you.
and that's why I really wanted to have him 4th. I also have him 5th because you kind of opened my eyes to it.
Bro, it's the
The
World,
World Cup is
man.
so important. You can't just
It's the
gloss
World
over
Cup,
it.
man.
Like, we know he's the best midfielder in the world. We know how good he is, how great. But when the biggest tournament came, that's what they did. And then he says that, like, it's just hard to overlook.
Before match
So-
day 3, by the way. Like,
So, like, would you argue he's closer to being 4th or 6th, though?
I would say
4th.
I would say 4th. Yeah.
Okay.
6 is like
I think
Gun
there's
to my
I think
head.
there's-
gun to my head. 6 is like Vinicius, Julian Alvarez, Lautaro. I would probably say that's the top 7. Osimhen has a case. I don't know if the top 7, but I think that would be my 7. Number 4. You could say it.
No, you go ahead.
Nah,
I think ours might be different. I think ours might be different.
I know exactly. Who's your number?
Mine's actually Vinicius.
Oh.
I think my thing is, the more I did research and watch them, because like I told Andres off camera, I didn't take a lunch today. Instead, I just sat there doing research for this. And
This is more important than your lunch, no offense.
facts. Who needs to eat, right?
No, Vinicius was
The
fantastic
more I
last
did
year.
research on Vinicius and the more I watched stuff of him, his season I feel like is just that incredible. Like, that's why I was between having KDB 4th, 5th, which must mean, unless I'm tripping, you have someone in your top 5 that I don't. Must be by that logic.
Yeah.
But I just think his season was incredible. He was so good for Real Madrid. He was so good in Champions League. I thought he was so good. Like, he was great in every competition. I thought. I had to have him top 5, and I was debating between 5th or 4th. I'm shocked.
That was my
you don't-
debate for
I'm
5th or
shocked
6th.
you don't have him top 5, honestly.
Yeah, but that was my debate because but I did want to put KDB 6. It just didn't look right to me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's fair. See, I would argue, if that is the case, actually, say your 3rd real quick. I'm curious. Or
No,
4th. Sorry, say your 4th real quick.
Rodri.
I gotta put Vinicius over him. I have to.
Number 4 for
And
me.
part of my reasoning for having Vinicius over him, because he's probably my 6th. But part of my reasoning for having Vinicius over him is I think Man City is just so OP, bro. It
Bro,
can't
but
go
we won the Nations League, and he was the man of the match in the final. He was fantastic in the semifinals. I just don't think that
He's
can
my
be
6th, so I'm not gonna act like that's crazy. Obviously,
Okay.
Rodri is right. He was incredible.
Yeah,
but
they won the treble. He was the man of the match in the Champions League final. He was the man of the match in the UEFA Nations League final. I think this season people started to realize who he is as a excuse me, as a number 6 on the midfield. He was already getting shouts like that he was better than Busquets. Like, that's how fantastic he was in like those last, I would say, 10 games of the season. And he
you
was
mean the
fantastic.
Inter Miami legend? Sorry, my bad. Anyway, do you want to go 3rd first? No.
Number 3.
Which this is about to piss me off. I know who's coming.
Number 3 is Erling Haaland for me.
That's crazy, but fair.
It's a controversial topic, but I do have to stay on brand because the World Cup is more important than the club. And obviously everyone knows who my top 2 is at that point. But Erling Haaland, fantastic year. Like I said, I just don't. There's an award for most goals, and that's the Golden Boot, in the European Golden Boot. But for best player, there's another award which is the Ballon d'Or. And not to be an asshole or biased, but it would have been a crime if Haaland won the Ballon d'Or over Lionel Messi. So, number 3, Erling Haaland. Number 2, Kylian Mbappe. And Kylian Mbappe in the World Cup final, he was non-existent for 80 minutes, and we gotta call a spade a spade. Like, I know a lot of people on Twitter like to go viral saying that he outplayed Messi, that he was the best player on the pitch. Yeah, you can't underlook a World Cup hat trick final, but If Argentina had won 3-2 in 90 minutes and Messi scored that goal against Loris, would we be saying that Mbappe had an on-time final, or would we be saying that he scored?
Here's my thoughts on that though. Like, here's where I disagree with. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on, let me finish. From minute 80 to minute 120, I was sweating, I was crying, my heart might have skipped a beat because he was ridiculous. There is no question about it. From minute 80 to minute 120, he was fantastic. From minute 1 to minute 80, he was non-existent. France got
non-existent.
No. Bro, I rewatched the game 2 weeks ago. I promise you, I have it recorded. I will send the game to you. From minute 1 to minute 80, he had his first shot of the game was at the 80th minute, which was he had a ball go over the bar, and then 2 minutes later he had the first penalty. Now, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
My thoughts on that is, and maybe I know you disagree with this because I think we've talked about it before, or even your opinion on this right now says it. I think if you are invisible for 1 through 80, but you're godlike, which he was for the final 40, all is forgiven in my opinion. That's just how I see it. Like, if you are the reason if the game even went to that point, all is forgiven for me.
The first goal, okay, but the first goal he wasn't involved because it was Colomani. The second goal was absolute banger, probably top 10 World Cup final goals ever. And the third one, he did set it up because he was the one that shot the ball. Like, and then he had that opportunity in the last, I don't know,
oh my God,
10 seconds of the game. Like, he was, like I said, he was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like in unfair comparison, not to bring up that peach ball sport, but like when people say, oh, you were asked in the first 3 quarters, but in the fourth quarter in OT you had 25 points. Like, obviously they're gonna be like, oh, he had a fantastic game. But does it reach OT if he's existent in the first, I don't know, let's say 3 quarters or whatever and stuff? Like, listen, I'm not trying to diminish what he did in the World Cup final.
For sure, but my argument would be if you put up, like, let's say James Harden, for example, because he's the first player that came to mind, honestly. Let's say for the first 3 quarters he puts up 6 points, but if in that 4th quarter he puts up 40 points, which might be a little exaggeration, 30 points, and sends the game to overtime, I forgive him for those first 3 quarters. That's just how I feel.
Okay, now let me flip the script. In the 2017 finals, right, the Cavs got gentlemen swept, and a lot of people said that LeBron averaged a triple-double. If you look at the stats, in the first 2 quarters, he was fantastic. In the last 2 quarters, he was pitiful. But they still praised him for his performance because he averaged a triple-double. He averaged 30 points per game.
But that's part of my point is I think showing up late is more important than showing up early.
I feel like, yeah, like I said, all-time performance from minute 80 to 120, and like I'm really not trying to sip like the hater. Like, he was fantastic, you know? And a lot of people have been asking me, if France won the World Cup, do I believe Mbappe should have won the Ballon d'Or? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll just say real quick, my number 3 is Mbappe, and for the same reason, I'm not gonna say my number 2 yet, but I kind of have to say my number 2 to make this point. I'm gonna be two main things stick out to me. One, my number 2 is Haaland. The more I looked into it, I have that Messi as the winner. I just have to. I know I'm on the dark side. You got me. But my main thing is Haaland. I can't help but penalize him for playing in League One. I'm sorry. I don't care what anyone says. Haaland doing it in the Premier League and Messi doing it like pretty much anywhere Messi goes, he's gonna do it. So that doesn't even really matter. And I'm sure Haaland will too, but he hasn't proven it yet. Like, we got to see him do that. And my reasoning for Haaland being 2, we already talked a lot about Mbappe, so he's my 3rd. My reason for Haaland not winning, which me and you have argued about a lot. You can't ignore, he does not show up in the big moments. He doesn't.
He didn't. He
in finals, he's like pretty much nowhere to be seen. And that was the deciding factor for me. If he had showed up more in finals and they won them just like they did, I probably would have had him number 1, even with Messi winning the World Cup. But I got swayed so much. I was Haaland Ballon d'Or. I got swayed so much that I think Haaland is closer to being 3rd than 1st. That's how I feel now.
I feel like, bro, but like when it comes, I feel like this is a terrible comparison because Messi's obviously the greatest athlete of all time. But like Messi always got murdered, smoked for not showing up with Argentina, right? Like in 2018, he had 55 goals, 27 assists, but they finished in the round of 16, and he finished 5th in the Ballon d'Or. 5th, not 4th, not podium, 5th. And I remember that year, everyone is like, how the hell did Messi finish 5th with being the maximum league goal scorer? Barcelona made the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Obviously, he had a bad World Cup with Argentina. He finished 5th. Like, I don't think people realize this. And we're gonna do a TikTok after this. But like, bro, the World Cup is so important. Like,
it's the biggest tournament in the world.
He scored a goal in every single phase. He almost scored a goal in every single game. Like, I don't understand how people can sit there and be like, oh, it was rigged. It was rigged. Like, that pass that he had against the Netherlands, rigged. The pass that he had against Mexico, rigged. The goal that he scored, like, bro, they were literally 0-0 with 20 minutes left against Mexico. They were 20 minutes away from everyone clowning Messi and being like, oh, his legacy's in the mud, this and that. One club player, he can't get it done outside of Barcelona. And now it's like, oh, the World Cup is rigged. Oh, they gifted it to him. The Qataris gave it to, like, I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to be as blunt as possible, but a lot of people were saying, listen to this. If France won the World Cup, what would be said about Mbappe? He's in the greatest of all time discussions with 2 World Cups. So how did it go from greatest of all time discussions to, oh, it's rigged? I'm sorry. That just can't happen.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who do you think was better in the World Cup overall, Messi or Mbappe?
Messi was better, man. I'm sorry.
I agree.
His best game was against Poland, and he didn't even score or assist. I feel like when it comes to...
what was their goal contributions? I know Mbappe had one more goal. How many assists did he have? Do you know?
Messi had 7 goals and 3 assists, and Mbappe had 8 goals and 1 assist, if I'm not mistaken. Because he had 1 assist against Morocco or something.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
So I get your argument for if Mbappe won the World Cup, he's your Ballon d'Or.
Easily.
But
no question about it.
I think the one thing that leads me to kind of be like, really, is let's go to the penalties.
Okay.
Mbappe makes his. Let's say Mbappe makes his. Let's say Messi makes his.
Okay.
Then, and this is, I'm not saying this is how it played out, but let's say they both took the first one for their team and it's 1-1.
They did.
Why does 3 France players missing versus 3 Argentina players making it make Messi the Ballon d'Or versus vice versa? I don't know if that's the right way to look at it.
No, I know what you're trying to say, but like, it's just the way the cards play. In 2006,
and I think
listen,
no, I know you're about to go through history, but
I think
history.
I mean, listen, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the TikTok. We'll talk about it in the TikTok. But it's just the World Cup holds so much weight because prior to this, people were saying that he couldn't get it done with Argentina. Once he got it done with Argentina, what was everyone saying? Oh, it's just a 7-game tournament. I'm not trying to be biased. Cristiano Ronaldo came out and said, I hope it's me that checkmates Messi in the final. He was more worried about playing Messi in the final than he was about trying to win the World Cup for Portugal. Like, that was his obsession. It's still his obsession. It's going to continue to be his obsession. I'm not trying to slander Ronaldo, but it's just the truth. But, like, people don't realize how much weight that shit holds, dude. Like, you're immortal forever. You have a star on your... Let me put it to you this way. If Christian Pulisic or... Well... If Timothy Weah scored, let's say 30 goals and 15 assists, he won the Premier League or the League One, or hopefully he's at a bigger team in the future. And USA won the World Cup, and he scored, let's say, 6 goals to put a good number instead of like 10. Would you be advocating for Timothy Weah to win the World Cup because USA won the first World Cup, because it's the first time they reached the final and everything?
So, I think context matters, obviously. Like, if let's say that if his stats and his overall performance wasn't as good as another player, then I'd probably still say no, honestly.
If he had a fantastic...
And why I still do have Messi as the Ballon d'Or winner is because his performance was better than everyone else.
But that's what I'm saying. So, like, nobody won a World Cup playing at the level that Messi
and that's why I agree. I do have him. I just don't know if I fully agree with your logic of... Oh, this teammate.
Let me put it to you this way. let me put it to you this way: if Messi won the treble, like Haaland did, and Norway won the World Cup, who do you think should deserve the Ballon d'Or?
And they both played how good they played. Like
Yes.
probably
Yes.
Messi still. Honestly, that's just me.
I disagree.
Because
I don't think.
Well,
it's different
because in that scenario, Messi still did outplay Haaland.
It's different to compare because bro, Messi set the standard so high that every single player is ass. Like that's how bad it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
He's the greatest.
this has been fun. Like I said, Lionel Messi, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, Rodrigo Hernandez Cascantes, and Kevin De Bruyne. And Eric, you have Lionel Messi, Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius, and KDB. All right. Well, there we have it.
It was a little different there. I like how it was a little different.
Just a little bit.
It's close.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been everything for the special episode. Remember, tune in Monday, October 30th. This has been fun. I love talking about footy. I'm glad I got Eric on board with this sport. But Eric, thank you for another great episode, and I'll see you soon for NBA preview.
Sir, can't wait.
Yes,
Man.
sir.
It'll be fun.
Yes, sir. We'll do.